Why is drug dependence a mental disorder or a mental health issue? This is because it affects the brain in very profound and complicated ways. When a person is using drugs, even if it's alcohol, tobacco, caffeine, opioids, amphetamines, crystal meth, you name it, they all have an effect on the brain where it causes an increase usually in neurotransmission in a particular part of the brain that's known as the pleasure center or desire center. This is an abnormal situation that can happen with time though. So over one-time use, the body tolerates it and they return to normal. But what happens is people discover this is their first time when they use something, they realize they enjoy it and they like it and they want to use again. And so this now causes an imbalance where there's too much neurotransmission of the pathways involved here. Dopamine is the main neurotransmitter I'm speaking about here. So whether it's cocaine or whatever we're talking about, it tends to increase dopamine production in the brain. This is a feel-good neurotransmitter. I know I'm generalizing here, but this is just a common pathway for most drugs, if not all. And so with increased availability of this drug of choice in the brain and it affecting the neurons, they tend to increase the receptors available for the dopamine transition to try to attenuate or augment, like minimize the effect that this stimulant is causing. So the brain's trying to recover a rebound from an excess of the drug of choice or alcohol. And it does this by increasing the number of receptors available. And this is why tolerance develops, because the more receptors that are there, the less active the drug of choice tends to be. So this is worsening over time when there's repeated exposure to the drug of choice that can cause increased neuron receptors, and they are comfortable and used to having the drug of choice during prolonged use. But what happens is when a person decides to abstain from their drug of choice, now they have all these unfilled receptors, and this creates havoc in the brain. There's an imbalance now. There's no longer the dopamine that the brain is used to, and to help balance with this, there is an increase of other neurotransmitters, ones that don't feel so good. This includes one that's similar to adrenaline, otherwise known as norepinephrine or noradrenaline. And this can feel like a panic attack. This is the one that brings on the agitation and discomfort of withdrawal. To help summarize it, the effects on the brain is that there's an increase in receptors, there's an imbalance of neurotransmission, and when a person is withdrawing, when they abstain from taking their drug of choice, this imbalance causes impaired upregulation of neurotransmitters like norepinephrine, leading to very discomfortable situation. So this is the science, this is fact that explains why there is abnormalities in the brain that occur with addiction, and explains why it is considered a mental illness. Of course, the other side of this equation is the decisions that are made. If one person can look down at it and say, well, this person has no self-control, they have no morals. And that is wrong to say that, because once a person is involved in the addiction, once they're already along this pathway and are going through withdrawal, if they don't take their drug of choice, they are now already a slave. They've also lost their ability to think clearly because they're going through withdrawal. They lose their ability to have proper insight to realize what's going on, and proper judgment to realize that what's going on is wrong. Sometimes they actually do have good judgment. They know what they're doing is wrong, but they don't care because they're feeling so sick. So I hope this helps explain the science behind drug dependency and why it is that it does fall under the diagnosis of mental illness.